Hello, my dear students. Welcome you all to biology class. Till yesterday's class, we have learnt about the different aspects about animal husbandry, about animal breeding, about poultry, as well as the fishery. Right. From today's class, in today's class, we shall discuss about the plant breeding, all about the breeding in the plant species. Okay. First of all, the word breeding or breed refers to reproduction simply. Breeding has another meaning, nothing but the reproduction. Right. We all have seen in second chapter there is a common process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, where we have used the term as pollination. Pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma, either of the same flower or of the different flower. Okay. Here we have discussed three different types. One as autogamy, which is called transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of same flower of the same plant. Second, we discussed about geitonogamy, that is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of another flower of the same plant. And lastly, we have studied about third type of pollination, that is xenogamy, which is also known as cross pollination. Also known as cross pollination, that is transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma of another flower of another plant. Means one plant having anther, one plant having stigma, the transfer is called pollination, that cross pollination or the xenogamy. Okay, here this process occurs naturally. In plant, the process occurs naturally, either by the wind or by the insect, by any other agent, okay, or water, etc. Okay. The same process is done artificially. When the same process, xenogamy, is done artificially, then it is called breeding. It is called breeding. That is the pollination which is done artificially, human, okay, maybe by using some techniques or the processes or by some instruments. But when the cross pollination, when the xenogamy is done artificially by man, it is called the breeding or the cross pollination, which is also called artificial hybridization. We also have discussed in that chapter under the concept artificial hybridization, nothing but crossing, cross pollination. Okay, that is the actual meaning of the plant breeding. We can define the plant breeding as the process of manipulation of the plant species so as to get improved or high yielding varieties of the plant. We can better write it, the manipulation of plant species so as to get improved or high yielding varieties of plants. Is called plant breeding. Okay, here you should focus on the word manipulation. This word has a lot of meaning. Manipulation, any process, any technique, any method. Okay, that is what we call manipulation, which is done artificially. Okay, manipulation refers to any process which is done artificially, man-made, man. Okay, any process which is done by the man is called manipulation, right? So here the pollination is manipulated. Pollination is manipulated, hence it is called a manipulation of the process of a plant species, so as to get the better or high yielding varieties of the plant, so that we can come out of the hunger, out of the increasing population of the India or the whole world. That is what the actual meaning of the plant breeding. Simply the performing the cross pollination artificially, manually is called the plant breeding, right? So firstly, why is it required? Let's understand why plant breeding is required to human beings. Okay, of course naturally all the process occurs. What is the need to perform all these processes, right? So why the plant breeding is required? Okay, a great question. That is, why is it required, right? So nowadays we all know the population explosion. Okay, so Indian population, world population has crossed many crores. Okay, so as the population is increasing, the food availability is decreasing. Population is increasing, food availability is decreasing just because of decrease in food production. Why decrease in food production? Because of the industrialization, constructing the industries, constructing the new homes, civilization, or many more man-made processes, destructions, the agricultural land is decreasing. Agricultural land is also decreasing. Because of the decreasing agricultural land, the food production is decreasing. So only the food availability for the increasing population is decreasing, right? So now the task is to increase the food production with the available amount of the land. Imagine I have 10,000 hectares of land, but the population is increasing. But land will not increase. Okay, land is going day by day, it is decreasing. Land is not increasing. Land is of the same quantity, same length, but population is increasing. So now the task is increasing food production by using the same or the fixed amount of the land, right? So for that we should focus on food production. Okay, so only the concept, the process started, that is plant breeding, just to increase the food production. And all of you are aware of a great revolution that is called Green Revolution. Green Revolution. Green refers to the plants, mainly the crop plants. Increasing the production of various crops. Okay, so firstly the Green Revolution is initiated by the environmentalist, the botanist or the biologist, the Norman Borlaug. And hope you remember the father of Green Revolution in India, that is M.S. Swaminathan. M.S. Swaminathan is the father of Green Revolution in India. Right. So, what is the aim of this Green Revolution? What is the motto of this Green Revolution? Just to increase the food production. The food production must be increased. How is it be increased? So, food production can be increased firstly by using better yielding varieties or high yielding varieties. High yielding varieties. Okay, mainly they have brought the varieties of wheat from Mexico. Okay, they have imported various high yielding varieties of wheat from the Mexican country, so that our plants, our cropland, the wheat, can produce more seeds, more amount of the food. Okay, along with that high yielding varieties, they should also focus on disease resistant varieties. Disease resistant varieties means the plant has to tolerate, it has to resist the various disease causing agents, pathogens like bacteria, virus, fungi. So, the plant variety has to tolerate, has to repel, has to fight with those pathogens, disease causing agents. Also, the plants must be pest resistant. Pest means any harmful insect. Any harmful insect is the pest. So, the plant must be able to resist the pest. Okay. Along with that, the plant must be resistant to environmental stresses. Environmental stresses. What are those environmental stresses? We have the abiotic factors like temperature, we have water, we have wind, we have some of the humidity, etc. Okay. So, the plant has to tolerate extreme environmental conditions. When we take temperature, high temperature, low temperature, more amount of water availability, less amount of water availability, more humidity, less humidity. So, high wind flow. So, if the plant is able to tolerate all those conditions, if the plant is fulfilling all these conditions, then of course, the food production can be increased. Of course, the food production will be increased by using the existing amount of the land, by using the existing amount of the land, right. So, that is how the plant breeding is been started, right. So, this is the actual need of plant breeding. This is the aim of plant breeding, why it has been done, what is the purpose, means how it should be brought into the practice. Okay. So, you might have heard about the word civilization. Okay. All of you know we came from monkeys. Okay. So, monkey to man. So, when we were a monkey, So we were not having any practice of growing the plants, etc. So from the civilization of humans, from the time of civilization, the plant breeding has started. Okay. First, the basic step what they have done is selection of plant. Selection of plants, mainly the pure lines. Okay, what is pure line? In an earlier language, because before some 100-200 years, they were not educated, they were not having the idea what exactly is plant breeding. Just they wanted to grow more. Okay, just their thought was just to grow more. Okay, so that is what they mean by plant breeding, just to grow more. So imagine in one village, Jamakhandi, Hunnur, one farmer is growing one variety of a jowar. Jowar variety, I name it A3. The name variety is A3 variety of the jowar. From 10 years, he is growing the same variety. From 10 years, he is getting the same amount of yield as compared to other farmers. Other farmers have other varieties of the jowar, A4, A5, etc. But this farmer in one village, by using this variety, he is growing the same amount of the jowar, more amount of the jowar. So then those people thought that yes, this variety is a pure line. This variety gives more yield. This variety gives more yield. Then they have started collecting such plant varieties. Okay, so this variety of this plant giving more yield, collected. This variety of this plant is giving more yield, collected. Like that, they have started collecting and selecting. First select, this is good, this is good, this is bad. Whichever they feel good, they started collecting the plant varieties from various places. Okay, that's the main step. Slowly, they understood the process of pollination. Slowly, they understood the process of pollination. Then, they have started the artificial pollination. That's what we call it as a hybridization. Hybridization or crossing. Okay, then actual meaning of plant breeding arises here. Hybridization. Hybrid means product of crossing, product of the two. Okay, when the characters of two plants merge, then it is called a hybrid. For example, I say plant A, I have plant B. Okay, here having some characters, it is tall, it is medium. This plant is giving, imagine mango tree, 15 mangoes per year. This plant is giving 100 mangoes per year. Now, out of the two characters, this is good character. Out of the two, this is good character. Right? So, everyone wishes to have both the characters in a single plant. Everyone wish to have both characters in a single plant. Then they have to go for hybridization, crossing, cross pollination. Okay. So, when they cross these two plants, so imagine plant C, the variety C will have both of the characters, that is tall height as well as producing 100 mangoes per year. Right? Just incorporating the characters of two different plants. Remember, belonging to the same species. Plant A, plant B must belong to same species. Here I used mango, Mangifera indica. Mango, Mangifera indica. Mango, Mangifera indica only. Okay. So, if they belong to the same species, then only the pollination is successful. Otherwise, there will be an incompatibility, mismatching of the stigma and the pollen. So, there will not be successful pollination. Right. So, this is how the idea of pollination has came into the minds of the people, just by looking at the characters in one plant, looking at the characters in other plant. Okay, that is how they have started the plant breeding process. Okay, so this has been used in nowadays agriculture. Okay, and also along with this, nowadays people are using many techniques like taking the help of genetics. They are taking the help of molecular biology. Also, for plant breeding, they are taking the help of biotechnology. Biotechnology, that is what we call genetic engineering. Genetic engineering. Remember, we will discuss this concept in the next chapter. We have next chapter, that is biotechnology itself. Okay, we will discuss this technique in detail in the next chapter. So, like that, by using various modern techniques, nowadays the food production is increased. Food production is increased. Right. So, now let us just see what are the basic steps which are practiced in the hybridization. What are the basic steps used in hybridization? Today we will just see the steps. In next class we shall discuss those 5 steps in detail. Okay. Because it will take some time to understand all the 5 steps in detail. Today I will just mention those 5 steps, how the plant breeding is been practiced. Okay. So, plant breeding is done by using the 5 major steps. First step, that is selection of the parents, or the selection of variability. Selection of variability. What is variability here? Differences in the characters. Differences in character of the parent, character of the offspring. Imagine this year I got 10 quintal of jowar. Next year I am getting 12 quintal of the jowar. Differences means characters are modified, better characteristics, better yield. Okay. So, variability. So, this farmer is growing this much, this farmer is growing this much using this variety. So, by analyzing those characters, those yield matters, they will collect different varieties. Okay. Second step is evaluation and selection of parents. Imagine in the first step you have collected about 120 plants. You have collected 120 plants belonging to the same species. Okay. Among these 120 plants, again we should select. Among 120, this 20 is good, next 20 is medium level, next 20 is high level. Like that, you should again screen them. Screening means choosing the better one, choosing the better one. So, say I have chosen about 95 plants. I have chosen about 95 plants. Okay. After this, we will go for the next step, that is actual step, that is cross pollination. Cross pollination or the cross hybridization among the selected parents. Selected parents. Remember, cross hybridization, nothing but artificial cross pollination is done among some of the plants. Say for example, as male plants I have taken some 25, as female plants I have taken some 25. So, crossed between those 50 plants, right. So, as a result of this, so we have obtained 25 new plants. Among 25, about 15 were having a high yield, about 10 were having medium yield. So, these are found to be superior. So, here next step, testing or selection and testing of superior recombinants. Recombinants means the products of a cross pollination. Among the recombinants, we found two different groups. One group was high yielding, one group was low yielding, means some plants were having high yield, some plants were having a medium yield. So, now I can say this as the superior recombinant, that is 15 is the superior recombinant. So, we have selected those superior recombinants. So, among these 15, again then self pollination is done. Here we have done cross pollination, but here they have allowed them for a self pollination to get the pure line, to get the pure characteristics. Lastly, they have done testing, release and commercialization of new cultivar or new variety. New cultivar or new variety. Right, means when among the 15 they found that about 10 plants are giving a more yield, heavy yield. So, they have selected 120 plants, they were giving about the yield of about 100 kg per year. Here they found that these plants, the new developed plants, were giving about 125 kg of yield per year. Yield per means by the process of artificial hybridization, the yield is increased from 100 to 125 kg per year. So, now they will commercialize that variety. Okay, so for that, firstly they have to test. 1 year they will grow those seeds in the field. Yes, if they are giving the same amount of yield, testing is done. Now they will release, means they will popularize that into the farmer. by the process of commercialization. Means they bring those varieties into the market. They bring those varieties into the market. Okay, that is the basic steps which are involved in the plant breeding procedure. Okay, it is just brief outline of the plant breeding steps. In next class, we shall study those steps in detail with some examples, with some database examples. Okay, hope this is enough for today's class. We shall discuss each step in detail in the next class. Till that, keep learning, stay home, stay safe. Thank you.